If you are collecting Social Security right now, I need you to stop everything and stay with me. This is not a warning about a potential change far off in the future. This is about something that is happening to thousands of Americans as you read these words. The money you earned and the government promised to protect is now in the crosshairs of federal debt collectors. And the weapon they are using? Your own student loans. Most people believe that Social Security is untouchable. It is your retirement. It is your disability income. It is the foundation of your survival after a lifetime of work. That belief is about to be tested. But here is the twist. The law that lets them take your check has been on the books for decades. It just took a quiet rule change to pull the trigger. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which form to pull up, what deadline is ticking, and the single action that can stop them in their tracks. You might be thinking, I paid off my student loans 40 years ago. Or, I never even went to college. My loans are from my child's education. It does not matter. The trap is broader than you realize. The federal government does not distinguish between a loan you took for yourself and a Parent Plus loan you signed for your daughter's art history degree. If that loan went into default, your Social Security is now a target. The system has a long memory, and it is not forgiving. To understand how we got here, you have to rewind to 1965. That was the year of the Higher Education Act. Lyndon Johnson signed it into law, creating the Federal Student Loan Program. At the time, it was a promise, a way for the country to invest in its own future. But buried inside that law was a clause giving the Department of Education the authority to enforce repayment using wage garnishment and tax refund offset. It seemed like a minor administrative tool at the time. No one was thinking about retirees. No one was thinking about disability checks. That was a problem for another generation. Now, that generation is us. Fast forward to 1998. The Debt Collection Improvement Act became law. That piece of legislation, coded as Title 31 of the U.S. Code, Section 3711, gave the Treasury a sweeping new power. They could now offset almost any federal payment to collect delinquent debts. Social Security, veterans benefits, federal salaries, all of it became potential collateral. The law was designed to catch people who owed back taxes or child support. Student loans were included almost as an afterthought, but an afterthought with teeth. It opened a door that would never be closed again. By 2022, the door was wide open. The student loan debt collection rule was finalized in May of that year. It specifically clarified that the Treasury can garnish Social Security disability insurance and supplemental security income benefits. Those are not extras, those are lifelines. People who cannot work due to a medical condition, people who depend on a monthly check for rent and food, they are now inside the collection net. Now let's talk about the 2023 administrative wage garnishment expansion. This rule, which took effect in January of 2024, changed everything. Before this rule, the Treasury could only garnish after a loan was 90 days past due. That threshold was pushed to 180 days. That sounds like a protection, but hear me out. The real change was adding Social Security retirement benefits to the list of garnishable assets. For the first time in history, your monthly retirement check from the Social Security Administration can be reduced by up to 15% to pay for a defaulted student loan. Not next year, not maybe, right now. The numbers are staggering. As of the second quarter of 2024, total outstanding federal student loan debt hit $1.73 trillion. That is trillion with a T. Of that, 7.2 million borrowers are in default, meaning they are at least 90 days past due. According to the Congressional Research Service, roughly 42% of those defaulted borrowers have incomes low enough that their Social Security benefits are their primary resource. That means millions of seniors on fixed incomes are one administrative notice away from losing a piece of their check. That statistic, 42% of defaulted borrowers relying on Social Security as their primary income, isn't just a number. It means millions of seniors are one administrative notice away from losing part of their check, and most don't even know it yet. Subscribe to stay ahead of these rules before they take money out of your pocket. In the comments, type 42. If you believe that number is too high, or if you know someone living on Social Security right now, consider the median garnishment amount. In 2024, the Treasury Department reported that the median monthly garnishment from Social Security benefits was $215. $215. For someone living on $1,200 or $1,400 a month, that is a disaster. That is a grocery trip. That is a utility bill. That is the difference between filling a prescription or skipping it. But here is what they do not tell you. The system is designed to operate in silence. You will not get a phone call from a friendly agent who explains your options. You will receive a letter. It will arrive in a plain envelope. It will say you owe money and that the Treasury is taking action. The letter will give you a deadline. That deadline is your only window to fight back. This is where most people freeze. They feel the shame. They think, I should have paid this. They blame themselves. But the truth is, the system is built to exploit that shame. A 2022 study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology showed that debt-laden individuals exhibited significantly higher risk aversion. Their brain activity, measured by fMRI, showed heightened amygdala response, the fear center, even when they were just reminded of their debt. The system knows that fear makes you passive. It counts on you doing nothing. Now I want you to picture the form that can save you. It is Form SSA 7008. It is called a Request for Social Security Earnings Information. You can pull it up on ssa.gov in under 5 minutes. This form gives you a complete history of every dollar reported to the Social Security Administration under your name. You need to see those numbers, because if there is an error in your earnings record, that error could be reducing your monthly benefit by an average of $140 per month. That is a GAO finding from 2023. 1 in 5 retirees has errors in their earnings record. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that piece of paper in your hands. Feel the weight of the paper. You turn it over and see the deadline line in Section 3. The government gives you exactly 60 days from the date of the notice to appeal an error. After that, the mistake becomes permanent. The Social Security Administration's own policy manual, the POMS, Section DI 11005.01, is very clear on this. You have 60 days, no exceptions, no second chances. But wait, that is only one piece of the puzzle. There is another layer most seniors never see coming. It is called the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or ERMAA. This is a surcharge added to your Medicare Part B and Part D premiums. If your income crosses a certain threshold, the government can add $50, $100, or even $200 per month to your premium. And here is the dark secret. They use your tax return from 2 years ago to determine your income. That means a one-time windfall, like selling a house or cashing out an IRA, can spike your income and trigger an ERMAA surcharge that lasts for a full year. Now here is where it gets worse. If you have a defaulted student loan and your Social Security is being garnished, that garnishment reduces your disposable income. But the ERMAA surcharge is calculated based on your gross income, not your net. So your check is shrinking while the premium to keep your health insurance is rising. You are trapped between 2 separate government systems that do not communicate with each other, and you are the one who has to fix it. You can appeal the ERMA surcharge using Form SSA 44. That is the Medicare Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, life-changing event form. If you had a major life change, retirement, divorce, death of a spouse, or a significant reduction in income, you can submit this form to have the surcharge removed. But you have to do it within 30 days of the notice. Miss that 30-day window, and you are paying the surcharge for the entire year, every month, without recourse. Now stop and consider the timing. The COVID-19 pandemic forbearance placed over $1.2 trillion in federal student loan balances into a temporary payment pause. That pause expired on September 30th, 2022. Collection actions resumed in full force immediately. The tsunami of garnishments that followed is still building. If you or someone you love is over 65 and has any federal student loan debt, even from decades ago, the clock is ticking. There is a mechanism called administrative wage garnishment. It allows the Department of Education to take up to 15% of your disposable earnings without a court order. No judge, no hearing, no opportunity to explain your situation. Just a letter, a deadline, and a reduced check. And since the 2023 expansion, that mechanism now includes Social Security retirement benefits. But there is a way out. It is not easy, but it is specific. The Department of Education's Borrower Defense to Repayment Rule, established in 2021, allows you to obtain a loan discharge if you were defrauded by your school. If your college lied about job placement rates, misrepresented the cost of attendance, or engaged in deceptive recruiting practices, you can apply for forgiveness. The application is online. It asks you to explain what happened and provide documentation. If approved, the loan is discharged and collection stops immediately. You just learned that the Department of Education can seize your Social Security without a court order, but also that you can fight back if your school defrauded you. This is the kind of hidden pathway the system does not want you to know about. And I am digging into more of them every week. Subscribe so you do not miss the next rule that could save your retirement income. And in the comments, type defrauded. If you or someone you know was misled by a college, I want to see how many of us are facing this exact trap. Another option is the 2025 Student Loan Forgiveness Initiative, announced by the White House in June of this year. This program pledges to forgive $10 billion in loans for borrowers who successfully complete a financial literacy program. It is a direct countermeasure to collection. It says, "We will forgive your debt if you learn how to manage your money." It is a lifeline, but only if you know it exists. You also have the option of negotiating a settlement. The government is allowed to accept less than the full balance to resolve a defaulted loan. You can offer a lump sum, sometimes as low as 20% of the total, and ask for a compromise. You do not need a lawyer. You do not need a debt settlement company. You can do it yourself by calling the Department of Education's Default Resolution Group. But you must do it before the garnishment begins. Once the Treasury has your money, getting it back is nearly impossible. Now I want you to feel the urgency. Imagine opening your mailbox and seeing a letter from the Treasury. The envelope is plain, but the return address is clear. You open it, and your eyes land on the number, $215. That is how much they plan to take from your next check. Your heartbeat quickens. Your hands feel cold. You look at your kitchen table, the bills you have stacked there, the ones you were already stretching to cover. That $215 was for your medication. It was for your electricity. It was for your food. And now it is gone. But here is the part that is not a nightmare. It is a call to action. You have the power to prevent this. The steps are not complicated. They require time, attention to detail, and the willingness to make a phone call or fill out a form. But they exist because the system is designed to let people fall through the cracks. And the first step out of the crack is knowing where the edges are. Pull up ssa.gov. Find the form SSA 7008. Request your earnings record. Check every year for accuracy. If you find an error, submit the correction with evidence. You have 60 days from the date of the notice. Do not wait. If you receive a letter about an IRMAA surcharge, download Form SSA 44. Fill it out. Attach proof of your life-changing event. Mail it to your local Social Security office. You have 30 days from the date of the letter. Do not wait. If you have a defaulted student loan, call the Default Resolution Group at 1-800-6-213-115. Ask about loan rehabilitation, consolidation, or a compromise. You do not have to pay someone to do this. The information is free. The cost is your inaction. Let's be brutally honest about what rehabilitation means, because the government uses a word that sounds friendly while hiding a punishing process. Loan rehabilitation requires 9 on-time payments over 10 consecutive months. The payments are set at 15% of your discretionary income, an amount the Department of Education calculates using a formula that often leaves you with barely enough for rent. If you miss a single payment, the clock resets to 0. You start over from month 1. The system is not designed to help you succeed. It is designed to filter out everyone who cannot jump through every hoop perfectly. But Congress, in a rare moment of clarity, created an alternative called loan consolidation. This allows you to combine all your defaulted loans into a single new loan. Once consolidated, the default is cured. The garnishment stops. The tax refund offset stops. The Social Security seizure stops. You then enter an income-driven repayment plan, which caps your monthly payment at 10% of your discretionary income. For a retiree living on Social Security alone, that discretionary income is often zero. That means your payment is zero. Not deferred, not postponed. Zero, and it counts toward eventual forgiveness after 20 or 25 years. You need to know the form for consolidation. It is a direct consolidation loan application, available at studentaid.gov. You fill it out online. It takes about 30 minutes. You will need your Social Security number, your loan details, and your federal tax return. The system will walk you through it, but you must choose the right repayment plan. That is the income-driven plan. If you miss that step, the system will place you on the standard 10-year plan, and your payment will be unaffordable. Do not let the default setting be your destiny. Now let's talk about the tax bomb that comes with forgiveness. Under current law, any amount of student loan debt that is forgiven after 20 or 25 years is considered taxable income by the IRS. That means you could owe income tax on $50,000 or more of phantom income in the year the forgiveness occurs. But there is an exception. The American Rescue Plan Act, signed in March of 2021, made student loan forgiveness tax-free through December 31st, 2025. That provision is set to expire. If you are close to forgiveness, you need to act before the end of this year to avoid a massive tax bill in a future tax season. This is the part that makes my stomach turn. The people who designed these programs knew that the complexity alone would cause most borrowers to fail. A 2024 study in neuropsychology, led by Huang and Kim, found that debt reminder tasks were enough to spike cortisol levels by 31% in participants carrying student loan debt. That is a direct, measurable stress hormone surge. The same study showed increased activity in the insula, a brain region associated with shame and social pain. The system is arithmetic. Your biology is not equipped to handle the shame, but shame is not a payment. Shame does not put food on the table. The only way to break the cycle is to replace shame with action. You have to treat this like a medical emergency. If a doctor told you had a ticking clot in your leg, you would not sit at home feeling bad about it. You would go to the hospital. This is no different. The clot is the garnishment that will start unless you intervene. The hospital is the phone call, the online form, the letter you mail today. Let me give you a real example of what happens when action is taken. In 2024, a 68-year-old woman from Ohio discovered that her late husband's Parent Plus loan had been in default for 14 years. She had no idea. The loan was in his name, and when he died, the debt did not disappear. The Department of Education demanded payment. They began garnishing her survivor benefits by $242 per month. She was living on $1,500 total. She called the default resolution group, submitted a consolidation application, and entered an income-driven plan. Her payment dropped to zero. The garnishment stopped. The $242 came back. Her total time on the phone and online was under 2 hours. That story is not a miracle. It is a function of knowing the right forms and deadlines. The system will not volunteer this information. You have to extract it. But once you know, the power shifts from the collector to you. Now let's address the psychological trap that keeps seniors frozen. It is the belief that the government would never do this to you. You paid your taxes. You followed the rules. You raised your children. You deserve a quiet retirement. That belief is noble, but it is not a legal defense. The law does not care about your intentions. It cares about the terms of the promissory note you signed decades ago. And if that note defaulted, the government has the same collection tools it uses for tax evasion or child support delinquency. There is no exemption for age. There is no exemption for disability. There is no exemption for good intentions. But here is what most seniors do not realize. That woman's 2-hour fix worked because she knew about forms she had never heard of. The very forms the system relies on you never finding. If that story hit close to home, if you have a parent or a friend carrying a debt they assumed would vanish, subscribe now so you do not miss the specific form numbers and deadlines I will walk through in the next video. And in the comments, type the single word STOP if you or someone you know is currently dealing with a Parent Plus loan garnishment. I will reply with the exact consolidation link. But there are procedural protections that the government is required to provide. When the Treasury plans to offset your Social Security, they must send you a notice of intent to offset. That notice must include the amount you owe, the agency that referred the debt, and the steps you can take to dispute the debt. You have 30 days from the date of that notice to request a review. If you can prove that the debt is inaccurate, that it has been paid, or that its collection would cause extreme hardship, the offset can be stopped. Requesting a hardship review is your nuclear option. You have to write a letter that explains, in specific dollar amounts, how the garnishment would affect your ability to pay for food, housing, medication, and utilities. Attach your bank statements, your rent receipt, your prescription receipts. Be detailed. Be raw. Do not assume the reader knows what $200 means to you. Tell them. Say, my electricity bill is $112. My medication is $80. If you take $215 from my check, I will have to choose between heat and insulin. The law does not require the government to grant your hardship request, but it does require them to consider it. And in many cases, the sheer effort of submitting a complete hardship package convinces the collector to accept a reduced payment or enter a settlement negotiation. They want the easiest path. If you make the easiest path a hardship review, they will often back off. This is why I keep coming back to the same message. Information is the only armor that works. The more you know, the harder it is for the system to intimidate you. Every form number, every deadline, every appeal right. These are not bureaucratic trivia. They are your weapons. Let me give you one more weapon. It is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's complaint system. If you feel that a debt collector is violating the law, calling too often, threatening you, misrepresenting the amount you owe, you can file a complaint at consumerfinance.gov. The CFPB has authority to investigate and, in some cases, compel the collector to stop. It is not a magic wand, but it is a paper trail. And in administrative law, paper trails matter. 2024 research from the Journal of Consumer Research showed that a 6-week financial literacy program reduced stress scores by 6.3 points on the perceived stress scale and lowered the intent to default by 14%. That is not a small effect. That is the difference between frozen inaction and measured response. And the best part? You do not need a 6-week program. You just need the core principles. Know your rights, know your deadlines, and act on them. Let's walk through the final checklist. Number 1. Go to SSA.gov and request your earnings record using Form SSA 7008. Number 2. Check your Medicare notice for any ERMAA surcharge and appeal with Form SSA 44 if necessary. Number 3. If you have a defaulted loan, call the default resolution group and explore rehabilitation, consolidation, or a compromise. Number 4. If you are near forgiveness, verify whether the tax-free provision of the American Rescue Plan still applies. Number 5. If you are already receiving a garnishment notice, write that hardship letter within 30 days. There is one final twist that catches nearly everyone. When you consolidate a defaulted loan, the new loan goes into repayment immediately. But the first payment is often due within 60 days. If you do not make that payment and you did not choose an income-driven plan, the loan will default again. And a second default is harder to fix than the first. So when you fill out the consolidation application, scroll down carefully. Look for the section that says Repayment Plan. Select Income-Driven Repayment, not the standard plan, not the graduated plan, the income-driven plan. This one step is the difference between permanent relief and another decade of stress. The clock is running. The COVID-19 payment pause ended in September of 2022. The collection machinery is fully engaged. Every month that passes without action is a month where a letter could arrive. But the reverse is also true. Every form you fill out, every phone call you make, every piece of paperwork you send is a step away from that letter. You're not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are just working with information that was kept from you. Now that you have it, the choice is yours. The deadline is not a scare tactic. It is a fact. And facts, once armed, can be confronted.